Tell me what you see in me. Gotta be something different. You must be made for me. Patience is everything.
Hey everyone, it's Chandler Alexis and welcome back to another YouTube video on my channel. I'm so excited for today's video. If you've been following me for a while, you know I used to do advice videos back in the day, but I haven't done one in a while. And so lately I've just been giving out advice to a few of my friends when it comes to like dating, relationships, life advice, basically anything you can think of I've been giving advice on. And my friends recommended that I do a podcast giving advice, and I was like, you know what, I don't got time for all that. But what I can do is make a little video on YouTube, and maybe we'll turn it into like a thing. As you all know, I am an older sister. I have two younger sisters that I grew up with, and one of them is in high school right now. And when I was thinking about what to call this video, I was like, oh my gosh, all these things I want to talk about are literally like things I would want my little sister to know. Obviously, she's still in high school. We don't live in the same house anymore, so she doesn't really like talk to me about her everyday life anymore. But hopefully she can tune into these videos, and if she ever needs advice, I'm here for her. Obviously she could call me as well, but I thought, you know what, if I'm going to give my little sister advice, I might as well give the rest of y'all some advice, because you guys are my family, my friends, and I will be your big sister if you didn't have one. I was the oldest in my household. I do have an older sister, as y'all know if you watch my YouTube channel, but we weren't raised in the same house growing up, so I wasn't able to ever get like advice from an older sister. So this is for all my girls out there that maybe you're an only child, maybe you are the older sister, so you don't have a big sister to give you advice. I'm gonna be your big sister today, okay? And so this video is called Advice to My Little Sister. It's gonna be a girl talk, and today we are talking about relationships. Obviously, if we turn this into a little series, y'all can ask some questions down below if you need advice on them, or I think I'm gonna do a highlight on my Instagram where y'all can like leave your anonymous questions there, or I guess it won't be anonymous to me, but you'll be anonymous in the video if you need some advice on certain things in your life. I think this would be such a fun little series to do here on my channel. I'm really good at giving advice. At least I think so. I think honestly I'm good at giving advice because I've been through the ringer and back, so I have a lot of experiences to be able to speak on and now reflect and give good advice so y'all don't repeat the dumb ass mistakes I made. But time will tell. Let me know if y'all enjoyed this video. Make sure you give this video a huge thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And if you're new here, welcome to my channel. Like I said before, I'm Chandler Alexis, and today I'm your big sis. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. I think before you get into any relationship, you need to realize that you are enough exactly how you are. You don't need to change for anyone. You don't need to act a certain way to make someone like you. Be you, and the right person will fall for you. And if you ever get into a relationship and you feel like you aren't enough, let me just tell you, you are with the wrong person, because the right person will always make you feel like you are more than enough. You are more than what they could have ever dreamt of. I think it kind of scares me when it comes to my younger sisters, of them getting into a relationship and thinking that they aren't enough for someone else, because personally, like, I was raised with my sisters, and especially my younger sister, like, she has so much to offer. And obviously I'm speaking mainly on her because she's in high school. Like I said, my other sister is like a year younger than me, so she's in a relationship now, you know, she's got her man. But my younger sister, I feel like she doesn't really have us to guide her throughout high school, and I feel like she's in that era of like searching for a boy and wanting boys to like her, or she likes boys, you know. She's very stubborn. She doesn't like to tell me too much, but I just hope that she's not out there trying to do the most for a boy, let alone a high school boy. Oh my gosh, y'all. When I was in high school, I had like crushes, but I was always smart enough to know that none of those dusty, musty, little crusty boys was ever gonna be the one. I'm not one of them high school sweethearts type of girls. Like, I was just always like, ugh, I'm not attracted to none of y'all. Y'all are just distractions in my life. I'm focused on the books. I'm focused on school. I'm focused on sports. Like, ooh, so I hope my sister is not in high school trying to cuff one of them boys, because no, girl, no. The second piece of advice I would give my sister is to not look for love. Love will find you. And honestly, I always speak on this whenever I talk about my personal relationship. A lot of y'all ask, like, how did I find Adam? Like, how did we meet? How did we start dating? Honestly, the honest to God truth is I was not looking for a relationship at the time. Y'all know me and y'all know I'm always in a relationship, okay? And that it became to a point in time where I was like, you know what? I just need to be by myself. I need to be single. I need to focus on myself. And honestly, I think that year was like my glow year. Like, that was my year of growth. That was my year of glow. I think honestly, I just kind of gave off that vibe of like, I'm an independent woman and I don't need you. Do you know what I mean? And so because of that, I wasn't looking for love. I was focused on myself. I was focused on my growth. I was focused on my business, on work, on becoming the best version of myself I could be. I was in the gym all the time. Like, I was really just focused on Chandler. And that was the first time where I was not looking for love at all, and somehow it found me. This relationship has been so much different than any of my past relationships. And once again, I think it's because I was not looking for love. And when you don't look for love, you don't try to change yourself. You don't try to be more than who you are or less than who you are. You're just being truly yourself. And I think that's one of the most attractive things to not only men but women. Like, when I think about what type of person do I want to date, I'm like, I want a guy that is focused on work, focused on his future, focused on self-care, knows his worth. I don't want the boy that's like constantly just, what are you doing tonight? What are you doing today? What are you, like, showing me he has no life because he's always hitting me up trying to hang out. Like, I don't want that guy. And before, I used to settle for those guys, and then when I would have them, we would literally just be in the house doing absolutely nothing. I wouldn't be growing. I wouldn't be glowing. I would be gaining unnecessary weight. I would be looking the ugliest. Like, I was just the worst version of myself. But when I focused on myself and I let love come to me, I was looking hot. I was in my, like I said, I was just growing. I was glowing. I felt so secure in myself that I was like, you know what? I wasn't looking for this, but it's knocking on the door. I'm gonna answer and see where it goes, and like, look at where we are today. With that being said, advice number 3, be the type of person that you would date. Would you want to date someone who is always negative, or always mean to people, or I don't know, like just unpleasant to be around? Would you want to date that person? No. So if that's you and you wouldn't even date yourself, why would you think someone would want to get into a relationship with you if that's how you are? Be the best version of yourself. Be someone that you would want to date, and you're going to attract a higher level of men. Before we get any further into this video, I need to add this advice in. Advice to my little sister, if you're watching this, Jolie, when you are in a relationship, don't ever take relationship advice from single people. And I know a lot of single people are sitting here like, what? But I give good advice. Just because I'm single doesn't mean I can't give good relationship advice. Yes, it does. If you could give good relationship advice, you'd be in a relationship. You wouldn't be single. And I know there's some people out there probably being like, well, I choose to be single. Okay, and that's your choice, but don't make that someone else's choice by giving them bad advice. Or even if you think that you're giving them good advice, maybe that's not the advice that they need. People in a relationship need to get advice from other people in a relationship. For example, me being in a relationship with Adam, we've been together over a year. I'm not going to go and ask one of my single friends who has one night stands every Saturday, likes to go out to the club every Friday, like is literally about hitting up men just for dinner dates. Like, I'm not going to go and ask that girl for advice, okay? Instead, I'm going to go and ask my friends that have been together for 2 years for advice. Hey, we're arguing. What do you think I should do? Because guess what? The single person is going to give me advice of, girl, you just need to be single. You just need to have fun. He's holding you back. versus someone in a relationship is going to give me advice of like, you know what, it takes communication, it takes compromise, you know, give it a little time, give it a little space, but you guys need to talk it out, you'll get past it. Do you see what I'm saying? If we're being real, when you're single and your friend that's in a relationship is like, I can't go out because my boyfriend don't want me going. By the way, my boyfriend's not like that, but I do have some friends that are like that. When I was single, I was like, oh my gosh, like just be single, like you don't need to be with him, like he's controlling, he's this and that. But that may work for their relationship, you know. But as a single friend, I was like, I just want you to come out, like I don't care for that, like you're telling me you can't come out because your man said no, like, oh, just break up with him already. So any chance you're gonna come to me saying like you and your man are arguing, I'm gonna say break up. I would say break up. But now that I'm in a relationship, okay, relationship advice, Chandler, is way different. If my friend who is in a relationship comes to me and says, hey, we're arguing, I'm gonna say work it out. Because guess what? When me and my boyfriend want to go out to the club with our friends, we like to go out with the ones that are in couples because we just understand each other. Do you know what I mean? If I take my single friend who's a girl to the club with me and my boyfriend, obviously she's out there looking for men. She's gonna want me to tag along with her. I'm not looking for men. I got my man. Do you know what I'm saying? So we like to go out with other couples. So again, if my friend who's in a couple asks me for advice, my advice is more so likely going to be work it out. Okay, obviously if it was something dramatic or like something really bad, I'm not gonna give that advice. But you guys know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about like the small things, the small fights, the small arguments, the small disagreements where it's not so big that it needs to be break up. Okay, so Jolie, if you're ever in a relationship, make sure you're only asking advice from people who are also in a relationship. The next piece of advice I would tell my little sister when it comes to relationships is that when you are in one, don't worry and stress over things that are outside of your control, i.e. cheating. When you stress over things that are outside of your control, the only thing you're doing is one, stressing yourself out over something that hasn't even happened, something that potentially might not ever happen, hopefully. But you're also driving a wedge between you and your partner, because not only are you letting them know you don't trust them, you're letting them know that you're constantly worried about them doing things behind your back, which again, trust, and you're showing them that you're insecure. And again, you want to be with someone that is the best version of themselves, right? I wouldn't want to date someone that's insecure, so why am I going to be insecure? I wouldn't want to date someone that's always going to accuse me of cheating. So why would I always accuse my partner of cheating? The biggest thing I want you to take away from this is that you are stressing. You're having sleepless nights. You're blowing up his phone. You're stalking his location because of something that might not even happen. Like, that doesn't make sense. Imagine if every night before you went to school, you set out an outfit for rainy weather, hot weather, a tornado, a fire, because you thought, oh, these things might happen tomorrow. Do you realize you're wasting your time? That was a good example. You're wasting your time by setting out outfits for a weather that might not even happen. There can only be one weather a day, right? So why are you setting out, I guess there could be more than one, but y'all get the point. Why are you setting out so many outfits the night before, staying up late, preparing different outfits for something that might not even happen? So same thing in a relationship. Why are you staying up late at night, stressing over a situation that's outside of your control? With the weather, if it is rainy tomorrow, you can't control that, right? If it's sunny tomorrow, you can't control that. You just gotta go day by day and trust that what you are being told is the truth. I have to trust that what the weatherman says the weather is today is what it's going to be. And that's how I'm going to dress. And you know what? If it happens to rain when I was told that it was going to be sunny, then I've learned a lesson. I can't trust the weatherman anymore, right? I shouldn't watch that news channel anymore, and vice versa for relationships. If a man tells me I will not cheat on you, you can trust me, and he does just the opposite, I realize I no longer have trust for you now. This relationship is over, okay? But until you show me that you cannot be trusted, why am I going to stress myself over something that is outside of my control? Don't do it. With that being said, if he cheats, leave. It's that simple. It's that simple. I know some people don't think it's that simple, but it is exactly that simple. If he cheats, then leave. When you stay with a man who has cheated on you, the only thing you are doing is showing him that, one, he can cheat on you and you'll still be there, okay? But two, you're also showing him that you don't know your self-worth. Personally, for me, cheating is an end all. I've stayed with cheaters before. I thought, oh, you know what? He's going to change. He regrets it. I seen the crocodile tears come down his eyes. I'm going to take his word that it was just a mistake and it was a one-time thing. And then I got cheated on two more times with 2 other girls. So a total of 3 times I got cheated on in that relationship. How dumb do I look and how dumb do I sound telling myself that someone who cheated on me can change? When they cheated on me, they obviously showed me that they did not respect me. They did not love me. They did not care for me. They didn't care about my feelings. But I chose to stay with them. For what? For what? To waste more of my time? The only thing you're going to do by staying with a cheater is realizing that the day you guys get married or have kids together, that they showed you back then, you will always be number 2. You will be number 2 to the woman that they cheated on you with. You will be number 2 to their own personal desires. You will be number 2 to their own feelings. Like, you don't matter. Because if someone truly loves you, they're not going to go out of their way to purposely hurt you. Because that's what cheating is doing. Like, I know I'm going to hurt you with my actions, but I'm so selfish, I don't care. But then I'm gonna try and tell you like I didn't mean it. No, like that shit's crazy. I was really told these things, by the way. I'm not just like making up examples. I was told these things and I believed them. And now like years later, I'm older, I'm wiser, I'm in a better relationship. I feel dumb. Like I realized I looked so stupid. Like especially y'all, I'm a YouTuber. I was crying over the internet over some of these musty, crusty, dusty dudes, okay? And I realized I look so stupid. Why was I even wanting to give these people a second chance? Like, especially when these men are not offering anything, which I think is so funny nowadays. We're hearing all these conversations about 50-50 or what do women have to offer? What do men have to offer? Why is that not a conversation? What do men have to offer? Like, what are you bringing to the table? I got off topic, but you know what? That needed to be said. That needed to be said. Back to the topic. If he cheats, leave. Because the only thing you're doing by staying is showing him that you don't know your self-worth. Moving on, next piece of advice. If a man makes a mistake twice, it's no longer a mistake. It's now a choice. If I decide to put my hand on a open flame and I burn my hand, we can say that the first time was a mistake, right? Oops, I didn't see it. Oops, I didn't know it was that hot. Oops, I didn't know it would burn my hand. A mistake. But I've learned my lesson, right? So we think. If I decide to put my hand back on that flame, is that not a choice? We can't say it was a mistake now because I knew it was hot. I knew it would burn my hand. I knew exactly what it would do. If I'm choosing to put my hand on that open flame again, it was a choice. So if a man chooses to lie to you the first time and say, you know what, it was a mistake, I learned my lesson, okay. But if he lies to you for a second time, that was the choice he decided to make. He knew exactly what he was doing. If he decides to follow a girl on Instagram and you ask him about it and he says, oops, it was a mistake, I'll unfollow her. And then 2 months later, you guys get into an argument. And oh, look, what do we have here? He decided to follow the same girl again? That's a choice. Leave that man. Because again, he's showing that he does not respect you. He is showing that he does not mind making a fool out of you. So make an example out of him and kick him to the curb. Now, going off of the whole following a girl on Instagram, I want to talk about boundaries. So next piece of advice I give to my little sister is to always set boundaries at the beginning of your relationship. So for example, when me and Adam got together, I had certain boundaries in place that I knew I never wanted them to be overstepped, okay? For example, one of my boundaries is being called a bitch. I will never, ever, ever stay with a man who decides that out of anger he wants to call me a bitch. I think it's highly disrespectful. I think if you wouldn't refer to your own mother as such, what makes you think that you can refer to me as one? No, sir. I don't even think it's cute to be like, my bitch is on her way. Like, that's your whole girlfriend, that's your whole wife, that's your whole fiance, that's the whole mother of your children. Like, put some respect on her name. She's not a bitch. Like, I just don't like it. It's just not my cup of tea. Again, if that's you like that shit, then so be it. But that's my personal boundary. I'm just letting y'all know one of my personal boundaries. So if a man ever, out of anger, I don't give a fuck. Because out of anger, are you gonna go and call your mom a bitch? I don't think so. My boyfriend is Kenyan. His mom would smack the shit out of him if he did. You're not gonna call me a bitch and think I'm gonna stay with you. Like, I don't like it. It's not respectful. I feel disrespected. And again, someone who is going to disrespect you or pass over your boundaries, like, that's not the person for you. With that being said, set boundaries at the beginning of your relationship, okay? Because, for example, let's say I met Adam and immediately, like, while we're on FaceTime or something, he's like, you're my bitch. Or he's telling his friends, like, my bitch is on her way over. And I'm hearing him say these things, right? And I'm not telling him nothing. I'm not saying like, oh, I don't like that, or that's a boundary for me. I'm just letting him say it, right? We start dating, and then 3 months into our relationship, he gets angry and he's like, shut up, bitch. And I say, oh, don't you ever call me that. And he's like, what do you mean don't ever call you a bitch? I always call you a bitch. Just because I say it angrily doesn't make it any different. You hear me literally all the time say, my bitch is coming over, or that's my bitch right there. Now, because I'm angry and I say you're acting like a bitch, you want to get mad and cry about it? What can I say? I didn't set the boundary at the beginning, so now me trying to set a boundary halfway through the relationship, what is it gonna do? In a non-offensive way, men are like dogs. You cannot teach an old dog a new trick. Y'all know the saying? Okay? But you can teach a new dog some new tricks, okay? So when you meet a man, if you tell him, these are my boundaries, I don't like this, and I don't want you to do this, and from the beginning he knows that if he ever does any of those things, then you are going to leave the relationship, he's less likely to do it, okay? Versus if, like I said, an old dog, new tricks, he's gonna be like, I don't give a fuck about that. I'm already used to doing it this way. I'm not changing how I already am just because now, months later, you don't like it. Set boundaries at the beginning. Have that conversation so that if it is ever crossed, you can let your partner know, like, I mentioned I don't like this and you're doing this. First time, mistake. If they do it again, it's a choice. The next piece of advice I would tell my little sister about relationships is that relationships consist of compromise, understanding, and self-growth. And if you can't do any of those 3 things that I just listed, then you're not ready to be in a relationship. I don't always agree with Adam's opinion on things or how he wants to do things, but we compromise. For instance, example time. I love giving examples because I feel like it makes people understand a little bit better. Me and Adam's taste in music, 2 completely different sides of the world, okay? Adam is British. He loves drill music, okay? He's a real British boy. He loves drill. I can't stand drill. It sounds like I'm being drilled in my ears whenever I hear it. Like, is that why it's called drill? That I feel like you're literally drilling through my ears whenever it comes on. It's just not my type of music. It's not my cup of tea. And vice versa for Adam. He doesn't really like that gushy pop August Alsina type of music, okay? That's my best example I can give y'all. He's not really into that. So me and him used to get into a lot of arguments about who gets to play music in the car, because I'm like, I don't want to hear that, and he'd be like, well, I don't want to hear that, okay? We had to learn how to compromise. So now it's like, okay, if we're going somewhere, you get the aux on the way there, I'll get the aux on the way back. Or it'll be like, okay, how about this? We'll play 2 songs of yours, 2 songs of mine. Not literally, because that's kind of childish to be counting. But it'll be like, I'll play your music for a little bit, and I'll either put in some headphones in, or I'll scroll on my phone and I won't really hear it. And then I'll play some of my music, or whoever's driving, they control the radio. Whatever the case is, we always come to a compromise about who gets to play what they want to play and when they want to play it. And that's what a relationship is all about. I can't be stubborn and be like, no, I literally don't want to hear that crap, and I'm playing my music the entire ride. I don't care. I'm sticking to it, and that's my boundary. Like, that's not how that works, okay? You can't do that. You have to compromise. If you don't compromise, your relationship isn't going to go very far. When you're in a relationship, you have to be understanding, because like I said earlier, you're two different people that were raised two completely different ways, unless you're siblings, and in that case it's incest, and this isn't the video for you. But hopefully y'all ain't siblings. And with that being said, you were raised two completely different ways, and that was a big moment for me as well, being in this relationship. Like, I'm American, my boyfriend's British. A lot of things he does are a lot differently than how I'm used to doing them. A lot of things he says, I'm like, what the fuck are you saying? That's not how you say it. Because we were raised two completely different ways. So when we have arguments over things, we both have to have that understanding of, you know what? You do things differently because you're different than me, and I understand it. I might not agree with you. I might not see it the same way you see it, but I can understand your point of view. We're going to have different point of views, but I can understand where you're coming from. I think a lot of people tend to only see things from their point of view, from their perspective, and don't ever take a moment to step back and say, you know what, let me try to understand it from your point of view. Let me try to understand why you feel that way. Let me try to understand why you think that that's correct. Again, at the end of the day, you don't always have to agree with your partner, but I think being able to be mature enough to say, I understand you, can go a very long way. This next piece of advice, I feel like a lot of people are going to argue with me on it. So if you don't agree, you don't have to agree. We're two different people, raised two different ways, okay? But in my relationship, this works for us, and it is the fact that we do not believe that you have to solve an argument before you go to bed. In our relationship, going to bed angry is perfectly okay. I think that a lot of people have made it like a trend. I don't know if trend's the right word, but we'll just use trend for now. A trend to follow that, like, we shouldn't go to bed angry. We should talk things out. You know, what happens if I don't wake up tomorrow and the last thing you said to me was, I don't want to be with you, or I hate you, or first of all, I don't ever say I hate you. You guys should not say I hate you. That's the devil's words. Those are very harsh words. Don't ever say you hate someone, especially someone you're supposed to love. But anyways, you know, whatever it is, what you might have said, maybe you said to them like, you're such a disappointment, or you're fucking annoying, and you know, whatever it is. A lot of people have made it a trend, like, you know what, we should solve this argument before we go to bed because you don't know what will happen. Again, I do understand it. Like, you know, you never know what could happen if that person could not wake up tomorrow morning, but come on now, that's a big what if, one. And two, you're not always going to be able to solve an argument before you go to bed. Like, especially in my relationship, like, we stay up pretty late. Right now I'm filming this video, y'all, and it is 2 in the morning, okay? So if it's 2 in the morning right now and I decide to get in bed at 3 a.m. and as I'm getting in bed, Adam wakes up and he's like, why are you getting into bed so late? And we start arguing. Does that mean that we're now gonna have to stay up till 6 a.m. to solve this argument? Because I'm not doing that. I'm tired. Obviously he's tired if he's already in bed. What is the point? How about instead of making it a rule that you can't go to bed angry, how about you guys take a little breather, agree to just have a little space, get some night's rest, and wake up the next morning willing to talk things through. Make it a rule. How about we don't wake up angry? That's a better rule in my opinion, because the whole let's not go to bed angry, when I'm angry, I don't want to talk to you. Like, think about when your siblings piss you off. When they make you angry, did you make it a rule in your household? Like, if my brother makes me mad, I'm not going to bed until we figure things out. Y'all know there's been days, if you have siblings, that y'all have gone weeks without speaking to each other, or days without speaking to each other, or months being mad at each other because so and so stole your t-shirt and wore it to school, or so and so broke your PlayStation, whatever the case is. Y'all didn't make it a rule then. Why are you putting so much pressure on yourself in a relationship to make not going to bed angry a rule? It's just, to me, a waste of time, personally. I think you could save a lot of your time by just agreeing to not wake up angry. That's the one thing about me and Adam. If we do go to bed upset at each other, we always wake up the next morning willing to talk about it. To be fair, me and Adam are very, like, we're both stubborn people, but at the same time, we're not that stubborn. Because we can go to bed angry, but we'll both wake up, like, peeking at each other. And then, like, one person will, like, touch the other person's foot. And next thing you know, we're like, sorry. You know, like, it's not hard for us to say I'm sorry to each other. I think, honestly, though, that man is my best friend. Like, he may piss me off some days, he may annoy me just like a best friend does, but that is my best friend. And at the end of the day, we always have that friendship at the root of our relationship. So I think for me, it's like, if you're my best friend, I don't want to talk to anyone else but my best friend. Even when I'm mad at you, like, I want to tell you why I'm mad at you. I want to vent to you about why I'm mad at my boyfriend. Because I want to vent to my best friend about why I'm mad at my boyfriend. They just happen to be the same person. That's how I feel about Adam. But I guess, I don't know if a lot of people have that in the relationships. I mean, I hope you do. But if that's the case, if that's how you feel about your significant other, then waking up the next morning not angry shouldn't be a hard thing to do. My last piece of advice, actually I think this one's my favorite, is that Jolie, whoever you decide to date one day, because dating is a serious thing. I'm not talking about dating around when that's like, oh, you know, you're just going on dates. I'm talking about the man you decide to make your boyfriend, your partner. Make sure that that man is an example of who you want your son, your potential son, to be one day. I obviously already have a son, so this advice is a little different for me. For me, I knew that when I met my future partner, I wanted him to be an example that my son could follow. I wasn't looking for someone to replace my son's dad. He has a dad already. I wanted someone to be a great role model in his life when he's with me. Obviously, Adam would be his stepdad once we get married. That's totally different. But I'm just saying, what I was looking for in a partner was a role model for my son. I want my son to have someone he can look up to as he grows up and says, I want to be just like him. Now, if I picked a man who was disrespectful, lazy, dirty, just an unpleasant person to be around, I don't want my son looking up to that person and being like, oh, he's cool, I want to be like him. I want to go around calling women a bitch. Like, no. I wanted someone that my son could say, oh my gosh, he's very accomplished in his career. He's a very kind person. He's very loving. He can talk about his emotions and still feel like a man. Like, that's who I wanted my son to look up to. I think one of my biggest accomplishments in life right now is that I found that person. I feel so proud when Crew says things like, I want to play football just like Adam. Like, he says, I want to be the best footballer just like Adam. Or when Crew says Adam's his best friend. Y'all know, if y'all watch our vlogs, Crew always says that Adam is his best friend. Y'all even commented on our videos like, oh, there goes Crew's best friend, or Crew's best friend is back, or congratulations to Crew's. Y'all make jokes about it, and I think it's so cute. I'm never offended. I would love to be Crew's best friend, but I'm glad that if it's not me, it's Adam. I feel so just proud of myself that I picked someone as great as Adam, that I would be over the moon if Crew was even half the person that Adam is. So to know that my son looks up to him and says, I want to be just like him, I could cry right now. But that's one of my biggest tips I could give y'all, is when y'all are dating, please date a man that you would want your potential future son or your current son to be when they get older. Because as kids, y'all know we are sponges. We take in everything around us. If I see that my parents are always arguing, always fighting, I'm more likely to be in a relationship where me and my partner are always fighting and talking, because that's the example I had to look up to, okay? But if I'm in a family where I see my dad is always bringing my mom home flowers or always loving her and kissing her, which is what I had with my mom and my stepdad, then that's what you're eventually going to look for. I'd never realized how important it is to date someone that would be a good example to your kids until I had a child of my own and I got older and realized like that shit actually matters. But yeah, that is all my advice that I would tell my little sister. To all the girls out there watching, I hope that you were able to either relate to this video somehow, or maybe this video helped you out when it comes to dating. If you guys want me to do a part 2 and turn this into a series, I will definitely do that for y'all. If you have anything you want advice on, you can either leave it in the comments down below, or you can message it to me on Instagram at chandleralexis. But yeah, I love y'all, and I will see you guys in my next video. Make sure if you liked this one though, you give it a huge thumbs up and you click the subscribe button down below, and I will see you in my next one. I love y'all so much. To the moon and back. I'm Chandler Alexis, and I'm signing out. Bye guys.